you'd asked me a year ago, I never would have thought Netflix could win the streaming wars, with legacy media companies finally entering the marketplace. It seemed that Netflix's long reign over online on-demand content was coming to an end. In the past year, NBC Universal, Warner Media, and Disney have each launched their own streaming service. And by the end of the year, popular shows such as Friends, Parks and Rec, and The Office will have left Netflix to join these competitors. I speculated at some point all content would leave, and all that would be left would be their original programming. After all, why would a company like Disney continue to lease out their licensed content to Netflix when they could just create their own streaming service? Ask yourself, if Netflix only had their original movies and TV shows, would you still subscribe? For me, it was a hard no, and I'm not the only one that would feel that way, because licensed content makes up a majority of what people watch online. It's an important component to running a successful streaming platform, and with every new competitor means less third-party content for Netflix to license. I wasn't confident they would survive. Then Disney Plus came out, the prophesied killer of Netflix. How could they compete with a company as big and legendary as Disney? On their first day alone, they signed up 10 million subscribers. And by the end of the fourth quarter, they had reached 26.5 million. I just had to ask, how many subscribers did Netflix lose during the launch of its first major competitor? 1 million? 5 million? Zero? Zero. Netflix lost 0 subscribers. It hit me like a bolt of lightning. I completely underestimated the impact Disney Plus would have on the streaming market. Consumers were never going to replace Netflix with Disney Plus, or any other streaming service for that matter. They were just going to pay for both. The big reason for this is that Netflix is the incumbent. It's very difficult to defeat the incumbent, especially on the internet, because a big part of market competition has to do with accessibility to the consumer, and nothing gets more accessible than being on the internet. This is very different when compared to traditional brick-and-mortar companies. Factors such as location simply don't apply. So when a website establishes itself as a leader of its industry, chances are they'll stay that way. And as the incumbent, Netflix has also gained a huge head start on its competitors. I mean, they've been doing this since 2007, and over that time they've created the gold standard in user interface. Their content is very well organized, allowing for a pleasant browsing experience. And they've developed algorithms programmed to recommend the kind of content you want to watch. These type of things don't just happen overnight. They take years of data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to make it happen. It's going to take a very long time for these new streaming services to even come close to their level of excellence in this regard. Oh, and they have the best name too. Seriously, what kind of name is Peacock? Netflix has also proven itself to be very adaptable. For example, they knew as early as 2011 that creating their own original content would become absolutely necessary in order to stay relevant, because they knew that someday legacy media companies would eventually leave to create their own streaming services, and take with them beloved shows such as Friends and The Office. Ironically, Netflix predicted the future while still striking lucrative partnerships with these same companies. Years later, Netflix now spends an ungodly amount of money on its original content to remain competitive. But when your competitors are the biggest media conglomerates in the world, you kinda have to. Either way, Netflix's original content has gotten much better over the years, and despite losing content to Disney, Warner Media, and NBC Universal, there's still plenty of other content out there for Netflix to stock their shelves with. Some of these companies, though, might not actually be trying to surpass Netflix. You might have heard of the multiple winners concept. Basically, the streaming industry is growing at such a rapid pace that no one wants to be left behind in all the money that is to be made. That's why even tech companies have entered the streaming wars. Apple isn't trying to become the next Netflix. They just want to make a buck. After all, this is really all about money, and legacy media companies simply want their own share of the market. These new streaming services will certainly become successful, but I believe that Netflix will continue to be our main source for online on-demand entertainment. I mean, come on guys, we gotta give Netflix some respect here. This is the company that single-handedly transformed how we consume media. They created binge watching, spearheaded the cord-cutting revolution, and now, with no clear timeline to the end of the coronavirus pandemic, demand for streaming has never been higher. This is Netflix's war to lose, and with over 180 million subscribers strong, I don't see them losing anytime soon.